The night air in Atlanta was heavy with summer heat, and Jasmine's heart raced as she stumbled into the gala's marble hall. She had come to deliver catering invoices, not to stand among glittering gowns and men in sharp tuxedos. Her hands trembled when a deep voice cut the noise, and she turned too fast. Jasmine collided into a tall figure, wrapping her arms instinctively around his waist. The scent of expensive cologne and cedar overwhelmed her senses. The room went still. Cameras flashed. Jasmine realized she wasn't clutching just anyone, but the city's most whispered about billionaire. His dark eyes pierced her, unreadable. "Why are you holding me like you know me?" Marcus said, his tone low, a mixture of irritation and curiosity. I thought you were someone else," Jasmine whispered, her voice trembling, shame already burning her skin. She tried to step back, but her body refused to move. Gasps rose. The whispers spread like wildfire. She felt the ground dissolve beneath her heels. Her world had just changed in a single mistake, and there was no undoing it now. Jasmine rushed out of the hall, her chest heaving as whispers chased her down the corridor. She hated the way shame clung to her skin like sweat. Her life had been built on avoiding attention, yet now she was plastered in every gaze. Her best friend Amara's words echoed in her mind, "Don't let them see you crumble." But Jasmine's knees felt weak. She leaned against a wall, pressing her palms against the cool surface. The sound of footsteps grew louder. Marcus followed, his stride calm, almost predatory. "You think you can walk out after that?" he said, voice low. Jasmine whispered, "It was a mistake. I don't belong here." She lowered her eyes, refusing to meet his gaze. Marcus leaned closer, the air between them tightening. "Mistakes have consequences. Do you understand what you've just done?" His eyes burned with something she couldn't read. Her lips parted, words caught in her throat. For the first time in years she felt truly seen, and it terrified her. Marcus stopped only feet away, his broad frame blocking the corridor's glow. "Do you realize the headlines already writing themselves?" he asked, his tone sharp yet calm. Jasmine shook her head. "I didn't mean to. I don't even know why I came inside." Her voice cracked, trembling like glass. He tilted his head, studying her like a puzzle. "People don't just stumble into places like this." Her chest tightened, but she stood taller, forcing her voice steady. "I came to deliver papers, that's all." Marcus smirked faintly, though his eyes remained cold. "And you gave them a scandal instead." He leaned closer, his voice softening unexpectedly. "Tell me, what are you running from?" Her breath caught. No one had ever asked that before. Later that night, Jasmine collapsed into her apartment, the city noise muffled by thin walls. She kicked off her heels, dropping onto the couch as Amara burst in. Amara said, "Girl, do you know what you just did? You hugged Marcus Hale in front of half the city's elite." Jasmine buried her face in her hands. "I ruined everything." Amara, shaking her head, sat beside her. "Or maybe you just started something." She pulled Jasmine's hands away, her eyes sharp with truth. "You've been hiding too long. Maybe this is the moment you stop letting fear run your life." Jasmine stared at her friend, torn between dread and a spark of something new. The next morning, sunlight pierced Jasmine's blinds. Her phone buzzed relentlessly with notifications. She groaned, unlocking it to see her photo everywhere. Headlines screaming about her embrace with Marcus Hale. Her stomach sank. The world now knew her name. Suddenly, her phone rang. She froze when she saw the caller ID. Marcus. His voice was calm, steady, and commanding. "We need to talk." Jasmine whispered, "Why me?" Her voice cracked as her fingers trembled. "Because the world thinks you matter now," Marcus said. His words lingered, dangerous and undeniable. Jasmine sat at her small kitchen table, morning light spilling through thin curtains, but her heart carried more shadows than the room itself. She stared at unpaid bills, spread across the table like scars she could not hide. Her mother's voice echoed in memory, harsh and weary. "Dreams don't pay rent, Jasmine. Dignity is a luxury we cannot afford. Jasmine clenched her fists, the echo cutting deeper than she wanted to admit. She wanted love, but not another wound. She wanted to belong, but not by mistake. Tears welled in her eyes, but she forced herself to stand tall, because weakness had never been allowed in her family's story. "Why can't I stop thinking about him?" she whispered, pressing her hand to her chest. Marcus's eyes haunted her, sharp yet strangely tender, as if he saw through her walls. But she reminded herself of the truth. Men like him destroyed women like her. Still, something inside her rebelled, daring her to imagine what it might feel like to be chosen instead of forgotten. Later that day, Jasmine walked past her old neighborhood corner store, its faded brick walls carrying memories heavier than groceries. She had grown up hearing people say she'd never leave this block. A group of older neighbors waved, their eyes both proud and curious. One said, "We saw you on the news, Jasmine, hugging a billionaire, huh?" She forced a smile, heat rising in her cheeks. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she muttered, gripping her purse tighter, as if it could shield her from judgment. Laughter followed her, warm but sharp, like a reminder that she carried everyone's expectations. She whispered under her breath, "I'm more than one mistake." She wished she believed it. The corner smelled of fried food and hot pavement, the scent of her childhood, sweet and suffocating. Every step forward felt like dragging chains of doubt, but she knew she had to face who she was before she could fight for who she wanted to become. Meanwhile, Marcus sat in his penthouse, the skyline sprawling beneath him like a kingdom he never asked for. He leaned against glass windows, his reflection fractured by the city lights. His assistant asked, "Should we release a statement?" Marcus shook his head slowly, sipping whiskey. "No, let them talk. The noise hides the truth." But silence followed him into every room. He thought of Jasmine's eyes, wide with shame, yet alive with fire he had not seen in years. She was not like the others who smiled at his money, but starved his soul. He clenched his jaw, remembering betrayals from the past. Trust was poison in his world, yet her mistake had pierced him deeper than any calculated plan. "Why her?" he asked the empty room. The city offered no answer, only endless lights that mocked his solitude. Back in her apartment, Jasmine sat cross-legged on the couch, venting to Amara, who always carried blunt truth like a shield. Amara said, "You keep saying it was a mistake, but maybe it's more than that. Maybe life finally shoved you into a spotlight you keep running from." Jasmine frowned. "I don't want a spotlight. I just want peace." Her voice broke as she twisted her fingers together. Amara leaned closer, eyes sharp. "Peace doesn't heal scars. Facing them does. You've spent years hiding behind work, behind fear. But maybe this man, this chaos, forces you to look at yourself." Jasmine shook her head, whispering, "What if it destroys me instead?" Amara replied softly, "Then at least you'll know you lived, not just survived." That night, Jasmine sat by her window, watching city lights flicker like unanswered prayers. She pressed her forehead to the glass, whispering, "I want more, but I'm afraid to want too much." Her phone buzzed. A message lit the screen. "We need to meet. Marcus." Her chest tightened. She read it again, pulse pounding. Her reflection in the glass looked like a stranger, tired, fearful, but glowing faintly with hope. For years, she carried her scars in silence, but now someone had noticed them, even if by mistake. Jasmine whispered, "What if this is the beginning or the end of me?" She closed her eyes, clutching the phone to her chest, knowing that tomorrow she would step into a story she could never erase. Jasmine stood outside the glass doors of Hale Enterprises, her heart thundering louder than the traffic below. She whispered, "I don't belong here," but her feet refused to move away. The message on her phone still glowed. "Meet me today." Inside, the lobby gleamed with polished marble, golden elevators, and people dressed like success was stitched into their suits. She clutched her bag tighter, afraid someone might see her shaking. Marcus appeared suddenly, stepping out of the elevator. His tailored suit seemed carved for him, and his eyes locked on her instantly. His voice was calm but commanding. "You came." Jasmine swallowed hard, trying to hold her ground. "You asked?" I couldn't ignore it. He moved closer, his gaze cutting through the noise of the busy lobby. "Good, because walking away won't erase what happened." Every word felt like a rope pulling her deeper into a world she wasn't sure she could survive. Not far away, Danielle stepped into the lobby, her heels clicking like daggers. Her eyes narrowed when she saw Marcus speaking with Jasmine. Danielle had spent years weaving her presence into his life, and this stranger was a threat she would not ignore. She approached with a smile sharp as glass. "Marcus, you didn't tell me you had company." Her gaze swept over Jasmine, dismissive and cold. Jasmine's stomach tightened, but she forced herself to stand taller. Marcus's jaw flexed as he replied, "This is business, Danielle, nothing else." Danielle laughed lightly, the sound empty. "Business? Funny, I don't remember charity cases making it to your calendar." Jasmine flushed, but her eyes sparkled with defiance. For once, she refused to shrink. "I didn't ask to be here, but I won't apologize for existing." The tension between the three of them could have cracked the marble beneath their feet. Later, Marcus led Jasmine into his office, a fortress of glass and steel high above the city. He poured himself water, his movements deliberate, while she lingered by the door. "You let people talk to you like that often?" Marcus asked, not looking up. Jasmine's hands tightened around her bag. "I don't have the power to stop them." His eyes met hers, sharp and unyielding. "Power isn't given, it's taken." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "You stood up to Danielle. That wasn't weakness. That was fire." Her lips parted, stunned by his intensity. "You don't know me." Marcus leaned closer, his breath brushing her skin. "Not yet, but I intend to." Her heart pounded so hard she thought it might shatter the glass walls around them. That evening, Jasmine returned home to find her mother sitting at the kitchen table, arms crossed tightly. The silence was heavier than stone. Her mother finally said, "I saw you on the news again, hugging him, standing with him. Do you realize how you look?" Jasmine dropped her bag, her voice strained. "It was a mistake. I didn't ask for this." Her mother's eyes narrowed, sharp with disappointment. "Mistakes like that ruin families. People will laugh at us. Do you want that shame?" Jasmine's throat tightened, but she forced the words out. "For once, I don't care what they say. I just want to live my own life." The words felt like betrayal and freedom all at once. Later that night, Jasmine sat on her bed, tears drying on her cheeks. She whispered into the quiet, "Why does everyone want me to be smaller?" Her phone buzzed again. A new message from Marcus. "Meet me tomorrow." I won't take no for an answer. She stared at the glowing screen, torn between fear and an ache she could no longer silence. Her heart begged her to run, but her spirit whispered to fight. She touched her reflection in the mirror, seeing not weakness but a spark she barely recognized. "Maybe I can be more," she whispered. And for the first time, the thought did not scare her. It ignited her. Jasmine entered Marcus's office again, but this time the air felt heavier, as if the walls themselves carried secrets. His eyes studied her, not with charm, but with restraint. She sensed words trapped behind his silence. He finally said, "There are things you don't know about me. Things that matter more than money or whispers." She stiffened, her pulse climbing. "What could be worse than being dragged into your scandal?" she asked, her voice sharper than she intended. Marcus exhaled, staring out the window. "The woman you saw earlier, Danielle. She isn't just anyone. My family expects me to marry her." The words cut through her, sharper than any insult. Jasmine whispered, "So I'm nothing but a mistake to you after all." Marcus turned quickly, his jaw tense. "No. You're the first thing that's felt real in years. That's the problem." Jasmine stormed out of the office, her heels echoing like thunder against marble floors. Her mind replayed his words until they became chains around her chest. His family expects him to marry her. Outside, the city glared with neon and car horns, mocking her pain. She whispered, "Of course, I should have known." Suddenly, Amara's voice came through the phone. "Where are you? You sound like you've been running from a ghost." Jasmine confessed, her voice breaking. "Marcus isn't mine. He was never meant to be. They've already chosen someone else for him." Amara was silent, then said firmly, "But what do you choose, Jasmine? Because pain has been choosing for you all your life." Her tears blurred the city lights into streaks of fire. Meanwhile, Marcus sat in his penthouse, staring at a framed photo of his late father. His father's voice haunted him. "Our name is our empire. Protect it at all costs." Danielle entered uninvited, her smile polished but her tone sharp. "You can't keep entertaining her. It's reckless." Marcus clenched his fists. "Reckless is pretending you and I could ever be real." Danielle's eyes narrowed, her voice dripping with venom. "Your family already promised me this life. Do you think they'll let some girl from nowhere ruin it?" Marcus's jaw tightened. "Maybe I don't care what they want anymore." But even as he said it, he knew the war between love and loyalty would not spare anyone. The next evening, Jasmine returned home only to find someone waiting in the shadows of her doorstep. Her breath caught when she recognized the face, her estranged father, a ghost she thought gone forever. "Dad," she whispered, voice trembling. He stepped forward, older now, his eyes filled with something unreadable. "Jasmine, I came back because you deserve to know the truth. Marcus's family, they're connected to why I left." Her knees weakened. "What are you talking about?" His voice cracked. "I wasn't just a coward. I was forced out. They ruined me, Jasmine. And now you're tangled with them." Her world shifted, as if the ground beneath her was suddenly fragile glass. Inside, Jasmine sat across from her father, every breath tight with disbelief. "So, everything I hated you for, leaving us, abandoning me, was because of them?" Her father's eyes glistened with regret. "I wanted to come back, but their threats never stopped. Marcus's family made sure of it." Jasmine pressed her palms to her face, shaking. "Wah. And now I'm falling for him. The son of the same empire that destroyed us." Her father leaned forward, voice heavy with sorrow. "You need to decide if love is worth reopening wounds that nearly destroyed me." Jasmine whispered, her voice breaking. "Maybe it already has." Jasmine stormed into Marcus's office, the city glowing behind him like fire waiting to consume them both. Her voice cracked as she shouted, "How dare you keep the truth from me? Your family ruined mine, and you said nothing." Marcus stood, his fists clenched at his sides. "I didn't know until recently. Do you think I wanted this? Do you think I wanted you tangled in the wreckage of my family's sins?" Tears burned her eyes, but anger carried her words. "I don't care what you wanted. You should have told me. You don't get to decide how much of my pain I can handle." He stepped closer, his face storming with fury and regret. "And you don't get to decide what I feel. You've torn into my life like lightning, Jasmine, and I can't escape it." Their eyes locked, the weight of history and desire colliding, too powerful to ignore. Marcus slammed his palm against the glass wall, the sound vibrating through the room. "You think I don't suffer under this name? Every deal, every breath, every choice is chained to a family that only knows control." Jasmine flinched but didn't move back. "At least you had choices. My father lost everything because of them. And now you," her voice broke, "you expect me to love the man who carries their name?" Marcus' chest rose and fell heavily. "I don't expect anything, but I can't stop wanting you. And that terrifies me more than losing every cent I own." Her tears spilled freely, her body trembling. "Wanting isn't enough, Marcus. Not when the world is ready to crush me just for touching you." His voice lowered, filled with desperation. "Then let it crush us both, because without you, I am already broken." The office doors burst open. Danielle strode in, her heels sharp against the floor. "Enough," she spat, glaring at Jasmine. "You think you can waltz into his life and rewrite what's already been written?" Jasmine spun, her eyes blazing. "I don't want your world. But I won't be treated like dirt to keep your crown polished. Danielle smirked, her voice laced with poison. You're nothing but a scandal in a borrowed dress. You'll disappear like smoke. Marcus cut in, voice fierce. Stop it, Danielle. You don't speak for me. You never did. Danielle's eyes flashed with rage, but Jasmine raised her chin, strength flooding her voice. You can't erase me just because you want me gone. I decide who I am, not you. For the first time, Danielle faltered under Jasmine's fire. Suddenly, another voice cut through the chaos. Jasmine's father, stepping into the office. His face carried years of sorrow. This family destroyed me, Marcus. And now they'll destroy her too if you let this continue. Marcus froze, his chest heaving. I never wanted that. I swear I didn't. Jasmine's father's eyes burned with warning. Swear all you want, but names like yours don't change. They swallow people whole. Jasmine turned to her father, pain twisting her voice. You left me, and now you want to tell me who I can love? Her father's voice cracked. I left to protect you, but I see now. Maybe I only abandoned you. The silence after his confession was louder than any scream. The room erupted, voices overlapping, accusations sharp as blades. Marcus shouted, I choose her, not you, not tradition. His chest heaved, his words breaking the chains of silence. Danielle hissed, then you'll lose everything. Jasmine's father warned, you'll ruin her life before it even begins. But Jasmine's voice rose above them all, raw and unshakable. No one decides for me anymore. Not you, not him, not anyone. If love destroys me, then at least it was mine. The silence that followed was unbearable, yet holy. Marcus looked at her, his eyes burning with tears he refused to shed. For the first time, Jasmine stood unbroken in the storm. The office fell silent after Jasmine's words, but the silence didn't bring peace. It carried exhaustion, a storm that had burned itself out. Jasmine walked out first, her heels slow, her shoulders trembling, but her head high. Marcus didn't chase her immediately. He stood in the glow of the city, his chest rising heavily, his fists unclenching. For once he had no words, no power, only the ache of watching her slip away. Jasmine reached the elevator, pressing the button with shaky hands. She whispered to herself, I will not break, not this time. Her reflection in the mirrored doors showed a woman scarred but standing. She realized strength wasn't about avoiding the storm but surviving it. When the doors closed, Marcus finally whispered into the empty office, Don't leave me like this. The next morning, Jasmine sat on her couch, a blanket wrapped tightly around her shoulders. She hadn't slept, her eyes swollen but steady. The silence of her apartment felt heavy, but for the first time she wasn't afraid of it. Her phone buzzed with missed calls and unread messages from Marcus, but she let it sit on the table. She whispered, I need to choose me first. Amara entered, carrying takeout coffee and fierce energy. You look like hell, but you're glowing. Jasmine gave a tired laugh. Glowing? I feel like ashes. Amara sat beside her, gripping her hand. Ashes mean something burned. And sometimes, that's the only way something new can rise. Jasmine closed her eyes, letting the truth settle like fragile hope. Meanwhile, Marcus sat alone in his penthouse, the skyline stretching endless but hollow. He stared at his phone, replaying her words. He whispered, She chose herself. She's stronger than me. His reflection in the glass mocked him. A man with everything but nothing real. Danielle's threats, his family's expectations, his father's voice, they all weighed like chains. He slammed his glass on the table, the shatter echoing through the quiet. His chest heaved, his face tight with desperation. I won't lose her like this. For the first time, he felt fear, not of failure, but of emptiness. He knew wealth could build empires, but love had the power to shatter him completely. Later that day, Jasmine met her father at a quiet diner, sunlight spilling through dusty blinds. He sat across from her, older than she remembered, guilt heavy in his eyes. I failed you, he said softly. I left you carrying scars I should have borne. Jasmine stirred her coffee slowly. You left because they broke you, but I'm still here. I won't let them break me too. Her father's lips trembled, his eyes glistening. You're stronger than I ever was. She reached across the table, gripping his hand. Then let's stop running. No more hiding from their shadow. Not for you, not for me. In that moment, Jasmine wasn't a girl abandoned. She was a woman reclaiming her story. That night, Jasmine returned home, standing at her window as city lights flickered like restless stars. She whispered, "This is my life. My choice." Her phone buzzed again, Marcus's name glowing on the screen. She stared at it, her heart pounding, but she didn't answer. Not yet. She pressed her forehead to the glass, breathing deeply. For once, silence wasn't emptiness, it was power. She finally understood she didn't need saving. Tears slid down her cheeks, but they were rent-born of weakness. They were release. In the quiet, Jasmine smiled faintly, whispering, "If he wants me, he'll have to face me as I am, not as the world wants me to be." Jasmine walked through the city at dawn, the streets nearly empty, the sky painted with faint streaks of orange. Each step felt like release, like walking out of chains she'd carried for too long. She whispered, "This is mine. My life." The words felt new on her tongue, but powerful. She remembered the fire of Marcus's eyes, the venom of Danielle's threats, her father's broken confession. They were all storms in her life, but none defined her. For once, she wasn't the mistake. She was the choice. And she chose herself. Her breath fogged in the cool morning air as she smiled faintly, the city alive around her. The world hadn't ended. It had only just begun. Marcus stood in the boardroom, facing his family for the first time without hesitation. Their voices rose in protest, shouting about legacy, about betrayal, about power. But his voice cut through. "You built an empire on chains. I won't live in them." Danielle glared, his relatives muttered in outrage, but Marcus no longer bent. He thought of Jasmine's fire, her defiance, her courage to walk away. That was the strength he wanted to claim, not wealth carved from silence. He turned his back on the table, walking away as his father's voice echoed in his mind. But this time, he answered with his own. Later, Marcus found Jasmine standing at the edge of Piedmont Park, the city skyline glowing behind her. She didn't turn when he approached, but her body stiffened at the sound of his footsteps. He said softly, "I walked away from them, for good." She closed her eyes, her chest tight. "And what now, Marcus? Walking away doesn't erase the past." He stepped closer, his voice raw. "No, but I'll spend my life building something real if you let me." Her heart clenched, torn between fear and the ache of wanting him. The silence between them felt endless. Jasmine turned to face him, her eyes wet but sharp. "I don't want promises that sound pretty but shatter in silence. If you want me, you face me as I am. Scars, fears, and all." Marcus nodded slowly, stepping closer until their breaths mingled. "I don't want perfect. I want real. Even if it hurts." Her lips trembled, her body trembling too. For a heartbeat, the world held still, and all she saw was the man who had broken her, and yet made her feel alive. She whispered, "Then prove it. Not to them, to me." The city hummed softly around them, but neither moved. Marcus whispered, "I love you," the words sharp with truth no longer hidden. Jasmine's tears slipped free, but her voice held steady. "Then love me in the light, not in the shadows. Or don't love me at all." He reached for her hand, trembling, waiting. She let him hold it, but her eyes stayed unflinching. In that silence, the story closed, not with certainty, but with fire. They weren't whole yet. They weren't safe. But they were real. And real was unforgettable.